What's going on, good people? Welcome to College Football Final Week 12 times the After Effects Show, episode 104. And y'all know how we do it. We just gonna dive right in. So on the 12 p.m. slot, I had number 9 Notre Dame versus number 22 Pittsburgh. Notre Dame, I thought there was a lot of hype coming into this game. I believe College Game Day was at Pittsburgh for Week 12, but Notre Dame came in and slaughtered Pittsburgh. 37-15. Game wasn't even close. Notre Dame quarterback C.J. Carr went 21 for 32, 212 yards and 2 touchdowns, but also had 2 interceptions, so he'll have to clean that up. Running back Jeremiah Love had 23 carries for 147 yards and 1 touchdown. One thing that we've been seeing a lot out of Notre Dame is their ability to run the football and be a physical team. So I'm sure Notre Dame will continue with that, being a top 10 team. Wide receiver Malachi Fields has 6 receptions for 99 yards and 2 touchdowns, so he had a solid game. 1 yard from eclipsing 100 yards. Receiving, I really feel like head coach Marcus Freeman has Notre Dame kind of flying around. Definitely thought this would be a closer game, but shout out to Notre Dame. They're a top 10 team, and they are ascending as we're getting into that latter part of November football. For the 3:30 slot, and I'm actually not sure if Texas A&M played at 3:30 or 12 o'clock, but number 3 Texas A&M did beat South Carolina by 1 point, 31-30. Not sure what the spread was for that game, but I don't think anyone expected them to barely beat South Carolina. I would say it was a massive nail-biter. Texas A&M quarterback Marcel Reed went 22 for 39, 439 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, but also had 2 interceptions. I think Marcel Reed continues to make a strong case to be a Heisman finalist. Not sure what his final season passing yards are thus far, but, I mean, he's balling. I thought South Carolina showed up ready to play, and that's why it was such a close game. But ultimately, Texas A&M was able to finish and get the win. 3:30 game, probably the biggest 3:30 game this year, is a top 11 matchup where number 11 Oklahoma went into Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and played number 4 Alabama. And Oklahoma was able to pull out with the win, 23-21. And uncharacteristically, Alabama had 3 turnovers. And actually, one of those turnovers was an interception for a pick 6. And that ultimately kind of edged Oklahoma over Alabama as they only won by 2 points. Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer went 15 for 23, 138 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. So John Mateer's passing stats weren't sexy, weren't explosive, but Oklahoma was just able to pull out with the win. Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson went 28 for 42, 326 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I think Ty Simpson continues to make a strong suit to be a Heisman finalist. He continues to play well. But like I said earlier, uncharacteristically, Alabama had 3 turnovers, and 1 resulted in a touchdown. So I think ultimately that ended up being the reason why Oklahoma was able to pull out with the win. Another game that we had in that 3:30 slot was number 21 Iowa versus number 17 USC. USC was able to edge out with the win 26-21. Seemed like Iowa started off hot. I did see that their quarterback Mark Gronowski had 1 touchdown passing, receiving, and rushing. So that was pretty cool. But unfortunately, those were the only 3 touchdowns that Iowa scored, losing 26-21. USC quarterback Jaden Mawaba went 23 for 32, 254 yards with 1 touchdown. I feel like Jaden is playing somewhat consistent. Every time you kind of see the USC highlights or you watch a USC game, he continues to at least, lead the offense to be able to score anywhere between 20 and 30 points per game. So it does seem like Jaden Mawaba has been pretty consistent and has USC kind of in the driver's seat. I'm sure they'll probably go up. They came in week 12 ranked at 17, so I'm sure beating Iowa, they may slide up into anywhere between 14 and 15. But, going into week 13, possibly with 1 to 2 games left and you're in that top 15, you always give yourself a chance to eke into, the top 12 to make the college football final. So, unfortunately, my alma mater lost, but USC continues to play well. And so before we talk about the 7:30 game, I do want to pivot real quick and talk about a 4:30 p.m. game that I was actually able to attend where North Carolina came in and played Wake Forest. Wake Forest was able to win 28-12. Massive shout out to Wake Forest running back coach Ephraim Reed for getting me tickets on the first row. We had a great time, and now show some video from Ephraim warming up with his running backs. Wake Forest football team kind of going through the warm-ups. It was pretty turned in Allegacy Stadium. Definitely thought they sat more than 31,000 after I researched it and saw that they only seat 31,000. Crowd was pretty loud. Everyone was pretty much into it. Wanted to see Great Uncle Bill coach North Carolina, and I got to say, Great Uncle Bill looked a little thinner than his Patriot days. So I guess the young tender he got, maybe paying dividends for him, right? But shout out to Ephraim Reed for the tickets, man. 4.5-hour drive from Atlanta to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Let's look at the stats. So North Carolina did not score any touchdowns. They completed 4 field goals, but no touchdowns. That's how they ended up with 12 points. Wake Forest quarterback Robbie Ashford went 15 for 25, 191 yards and 1 touchdown. Running back Denard Claiborne had 23 carries for 98 yards. I thought he ran the ball pretty well. I did see him fumble once, but seemed like he bounced back from that. Looked like from the sideline, he was a little down, but Coach Reed stayed positive, kept him going. He was able to bounce back and almost rush for 100 yards. North Carolina quarterback Gio Lopez went 21 for 36, 201 yards. Sacked 2 times. Seemed like for the most part, Lopez was able to control North Carolina's field position, but once they got in the red zone, they just weren't able to capitalize and score any touchdowns. Unfortunately, they only had 4 field goals. So again, it was great to see some ACC football up close and personal. And again, shout out to Coach Reed up at Wake Forest. The last game we got on the docket is obviously, I would say, the game of the week. Coming into week 12 was number 10 Texas going into number 5 Georgia, and Georgia absolutely clobbered Texas 35-10. Texas quarterback Arch Manning went 27 for 43, 251 yards and 1 touchdown. Georgia quarterback Gunnar Stockton went 24 for 29, only 5 incompletions, 229 yards, 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. So Gunnar Stockton played his ass off and damn near played perfect football down there in Athens, Georgia. Georgia continues to kind of solidify themselves as a top 5 team nationally and a top SEC team. I really thought Texas would play a lot better. I thought that Texas has been able to dig deep. At one point, they had fell out of the top 25, and they had such a hard schedule. They were able to get, stack some good wins back to back, and was able to get back in the top 25 and reach and go all the way back up to number 10 from week 1. I think week 1 they were maybe like number 3 or number 4. So I definitely thought Texas would play better. It seemed like their maturation was kind of trending upward, and they were playing better and getting some big wins. But that second half, I thought Georgia was just really able to pull away, and I thought they just dominated in Athens. Georgia is always loaded on defense, but that second half, Texas really couldn't move the ball. Arch Manning's stats looked decent, but that second half, he really just wasn't able to move the ball. And that's all we got for week 12. So what would I say is the after effect of week 12? Obviously, Ohio State just continuing to dominate. I think they clobbered UCLA like 38-7. Can't remember who Indiana played, but definitely eager to see, Ohio State and Indiana playing the Big Ten championship here in a couple weeks. What else? I mean, Georgia continuing to play well, clobber some really good teams. I would also have to kind of go to Alabama. Alabama hasn't lost since week 1 at Florida State. They've been able to put together 8 or 9 straight wins, and for them to lose at home, based off of having 3 turnovers, which I really feel like Alabama's been playing no turnover football for the lion's share of the season. To see them turn the ball over 3 times and ultimately lose in Tuscaloosa, that's an eye-opener for sure. So, yeah, that's all we got for week 12. If you are watching this episode on YouTube, please subscribe to LeBron Daniel TV. Turn your notifications on. If you are listening to this podcast, wherever you get your pods, please subscribe to the After Effects show. And that's all we got. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.